to call the Planning and Development Committee meeting at June the 8th, 2022 at 1 p.m. Recommendation of the Planning Development Committee agenda for 2022 be approved as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Thanks. Now maybe I can really work at this. Adoption of the minutes, recommendation that the minutes of the Planning Development Committee meeting held on May the 25th, 2022 be adopted. Gord, Brian, all in favor, carried. Development Services update, Scott.
It's our list of planning applications, maybe 4 new ones since the last meeting. Yeah, we're gonna be considering 3 of them today. Get probably a couple more at the next meeting. Got some of the older ones, Northern Court. Still waiting on info on that one, what they want to do. 2 miles, we had Blocky at the last meeting, made a little bit of a presentation, and we're looking into seeing how we can maybe let them start doing some of the prep works outside of a permit. Just waiting for that approval from the province. Coach Road, Sarah did get a little information on that one. We've actually referred that out now to the technical operating committee on the for the rail trail, because looks like there could be some work called on the actual rail trail land in order to mediate what they did there. So Sarah's working through that one. Couple of them will come to council tonight, but yeah, we'll answer questions on these.
What can you tell us about 102 Martin and 902 Riverside? Additional information required. Where's that one?
That one is sitting with the owner, really deciding what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He had a plan for some like strata, like single cottage type commercial units.
Yeah.
But hasn't really indicated he wants to move in any direction, so waiting.
Okay. And the one on Riverside beside old manufacturing.
That's so 1129.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to work through there's a covenant on the property.
Right.
I think they're still trying to
Oh, okay. Yeah.
work through that.
Go ahead, Gord.
Yeah, just through the chair, I just wanted to ask about the not so much Hillier Road, but the industrial park Thompson Place and that. I'm not sure if you've been out there lately to go by Walmart. Almost every cedar they put in are brown, turning brown. So like I say, I think unless everybody is asked to put in water, I mean, it's just not, they're not gonna get watered.
Yeah.
You're just gonna die over there. It's not, I mean, it's got a lot of coal dust and everything like that. I would sooner see the money get taken and put into an entrance to the industrial park and make it really, really nice, get everybody to kick in a $5,000 or $2,000 or $1,000 or whatever, and not put in the cedars, because I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty sad to see. Those are all 4-foot cedars and they're all brown.
So at my place, I've got the ones that have been on the highway I put them in, they were 4 feet high. They're 9 feet tall now. And 4 of them turned brown this spring. They're established. Why those 4 went that way, like I think there's some sort of a bug or blight or something that's getting to them. So I sprayed them with a top dress stuff. So because they were all going to look like that. So the rest of them seem to be all right, but there's 4 that are, so it could be whether they watered them or not, you may have a problem.
Yeah, I thought maybe yours were tough growing because of maybe when they're, the highway swings the sand or salt and onto them, it's stunts them a bit, but over there, I know, just, I know the coal dust that comes off the trains is not good along the fence line there. But
Right.
something to think about. I don't know, if we can make them, instead of spending money on landscaping in individual lots, put it at the entrance and make a really nice entrance and.
Where would the water come for watering at the entrance there? I would just. Yeah, because it'd be nice if they were, if you did something, I totally agree. I think. Why make everybody do a bunch of landscaping in an industrial area? But that entrance would be really good. If it was, everything was watered, it would be,
You could even do, rather than, worrying about watering, is just add some nice rockery and go with a few of those self-watering planters.
Good idea.
Get the rocks from Shade's place on the highway.
Well, next door to the Red Barn, I hear there's some available, so.
So anyway, staff could maybe look into that.
Yep.
See what the viability of it is.
Thank you.
You have to realize though, Gord, that road also accesses that 2 or 4 acre parcel of affordable housing.
In the backside, yep.
Backside of it. The gateway, it's stipulated your state industrial park, when that happens behind it. Oh yeah, and behind it is affordable housing.
really.
Well, they got that when they had got it on the LR. It was mandatory, same as the Trouton property.
Right.
So they have 4 acres. It's high density too, isn't it?
I'd have to look, but
Yeah, it's like Parksville. So, okay, any other comments on that? Okay, so new business. Or let's see here, are we skipping something? Because usually Sarah has something to say, but.
Sarah, something under new business.
Yeah,
Waiting for my slide queue.
well, but I said, new business, 5A, 22082 DP/DVP 202 Highway 97A.
Yeah, so there is a recommendation for this one. You don't have to read it out right now, but it'll come up again at the end. So here's our location. You may recognize this. This is just down below Bayview on the water side. So the property is zoned residential waterfront medium, is designated under the official community plan as residential waterfront medium density. It falls within the watercourse protection and development permit area, and it's zoned C3, which is a tourist commercial zone. So this application is actually for group moorage or marina, which is a permitted use in both the land use designation on the water, which is marine, and the S2 zone, which is also marine. So here's the proposed site plan. You can see the ortho just underneath there, the existing marina, and then sketched over top in the line work there, I hope you can see it, is the new marina. It's a similar layout, but it is the opening, the access is reversed to the other side, and it is further out in the water. And the reason for that is to prevent it from grounding. It is grounding annually right now. So it does have to be moved further out into the water to come into compliance with Glenrose guidelines. And it's also really deep water there in this particular instance. So they're not able to use pilings, etc. They will be using anchor lines. So that's what these really long horizontal lines are. And so because of this, their tenure needs to be updated. So, sorry, their license area, this is a license in this case. So it will get a lot bigger to accommodate those anchor lines. So here's the comparison. So the existing license area is in white and the new one is in green. So the new one will need a variance to the lot area under the S2 zone. It's not too bad. We've seen others that are that have required higher variances. This one's just a smaller one. So from 50% of the size of the upland parcel to 56.7% of the size of the upland parcel. And the reason for this obviously is to prevent it from drowning. They have to use deep water anchors. And there's also a sanitary sewer statutory right of way along the south side here that is on the surface of the lake bed that needs to be protected from anchor lines as well. So part of that, they've removed their log breakwater, which you can kind of see in the ortho image there. It's that kind of checkmark shaped structure. That's had to come out because the anchor lines were interfering with our sewer infrastructure. So the other variance that they need is for the length of the marina or group moorage. So to prevent grounding, it does need to move further out. And because of the way the topography of the lake bed is, where that's measured from is from the 1.5 meter water depth at low water, the length of the marina. So they do need a variance from 50 meters to 63 meters to accommodate that. And here's the recommendation.
Any comments?
No, I think it's, I can see it being doable. I think they probably are needing an upgraded marina. It's been in there a long time. Yeah, so I have no concerns at all.
Yeah, it'd be nice for them to be able to go in around the other side, especially in those storms that come pumping up the lake. Going in, trying to get access in south end of it. I've seen some doozies there, so. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yep, they're doing what they have to do.
Okay, so recommendation that the Planning Development Committee recommend council authorize and issue development permit number 22-082 DP for the property legally described as foreshore license number 341941 adjacent to the upland property legally described as strata plan K519 located at 202 Highway 97A for the replacement of a marina and issue a development variance permit number 22-082-DVP to vary the section 8022B, I'm assuming, and 8023A in support of a license renewal. Need a mover? Gord, seconded by Deb, all in favor? Carried. Oh, you have to excuse me for a second. I gotta get this.
COVID.
No, I had that yesterday. Look at that. There's a box right there behind me. Why didn't you say something to somebody?
I never noticed until you were pulling it out of the box.
Well, thanks. All right, moving along here. 5 new business. 22143 DVP number 181705 Hiller Road East. Sarah, I assume.
Well, this one's me.
This one's
This
you.
one's me, yeah. So we actually have 3 applications for the same property, so I'll do a little intro on the property at large and then kind of look at each application separately. So this one, 1705 Hillier Road, you can see in the air photo here, it's a kind of continuation of the mobile home park. The 1707 is a strata, and then this one's a mobile home park where people lease the properties. I don't think the applicant is online. I talked to him yesterday, and yeah, he said he didn't think he'd be able to make it. But the park has developed quite a bit since this photo was taken. The official community plan designation is residential medium density, and the zoning is R4 residential, which permits mobile home parks. And then, yeah, the application is for the 4 properties you can see here. So 18 is the one that's on the far west side. 7 is the one that's by the entrance, and number 5 is the one that's on the east side. So in this property, there was a development permit that was issued in 2021. And that was to create the 34 mobile home sites. And then it describes some of the landscaping and open space requirements. And there was another development variance permit. At that time, there's a variance to reduce the landscape buffers around the property. And also to reduce the setbacks for accessory buildings from 6 meters to 5 meters. And then there was another variance to reduce some of the setbacks. And again, it was reducing the setbacks for accessory buildings from 6 meters to 4 meters. So if we go to the next slide. So this is number 18. So this is if you're standing on Hillier Road, into the park. You're actually standing at kind of the internal roads of the park. You can see the pad that's being created. And so we want to bring a unit in, and they also want to have a shed and a deck, and they'll have to vary the setbacks from this internal road. This is an emergency access road, but I think as the park develops, it could turn into a road that's used a little bit more. If we go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is so that photo would have been taken from like the top left of the drawing here. As part of the application, we've asked the owner to provide a drawing like this for each lot as it's developed, so then we can see in relation to the next property. So this is one of them that was developed, and just right now the people that haven't placed their unit, but they'd like to build a deck and a shed. Bylaw right now says they're allowed 1 accessory residential building, and we're considering decks to be residential buildings because they can't be actually attached to the unit because of the stamp they're given. They have to be self-supporting, so we're considering the decks to be residential buildings. And then and you're allowed 1, so they'd have to get a variance for the second one. And then there's the setbacks from the exterior side property line, and that's the mobile home park site line. It's not the legal property line of the entire parcel, it's that mobile home park site line. So for the deck, it's 3.49 meters, and then for the shed, it would be 3 meters. So they'd have to vary it from 6 meters to 3.49 meters and 6 meters to 3 meters. The existing variance does allow 4 meters. So, really they're varying it from the existing variance of 4 meters to 3.49 meters. So they had the opportunity to reduce it by 49 centimeters for the deck to make the deck conform, and they decided to go the variance route instead. Staff's recommending that this variance permit be issued.
Comment? So they could use the 4 meter. They want to go with the 3.49 to just to make that deck a little bigger. Yeah, and so I don't know how much, I don't have too much problem with that, but I think maybe it's a different discussion later about the fact that the deck is a building and the shed is a building, and you know, or like. I understand where you're coming from, but I just think. I think everybody's gonna want a deck, everybody's gonna want a shed, you know, it's. Yeah, it's, yeah, but as far as this goes, these variances, I don't know, I don't have that issue with it.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it. I just, again, I think we should retract the whole mobile home bylaw and make a new one, so we don't have to.
Well, that's my comment. We haven't implemented. Now, this is a corner lot one, so it's gonna have the sight line set back and that's from the street, I'm assuming. But from the edge of an adjacent mobile home space or mobile home strata parcel line, setbacks 1.2 meters. Why would we not have used that? I don't care what they asked for. Why would we not have used this? Because that's what's gonna be new zoning bylaw if we ever pass it. And I would have thought that it would be our objective to get this one and whatever variances we're doing so that we're all playing from the same ballpark. And so that's my question is why would we not have just said to them, we're gonna give you 1.2, because that's what the new zoning bylaw is on one of them.
But
Not on both.
this is from the exterior of the park.
The exterior is 3. But an inside, from an exterior side property line, so. On that property, where are they trying, which side are they trying to vary on? The one to the road side or the front side?
That's right.
So,
You can see that the owner did if you go forward one. You can see that,
he's moving the unit as close as he can to the 1.2, or where is he, like, where?
what they've done is you can see a kind of a checked line. Checked line that goes here.
Yeah,
So that's essentially the footprint that the developer has said to the. Well, that's the footprint that he showed to us saying, this is what they would look like. So when we prepared the bylaw or prepared the development permit, that's what we were working from. But in this particular case, they want to go outside that setback that was shown. So
why don't they just move the trailer back to the other line? They're inside everything.
Good question.
Yeah, it's not there yet, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they come and ask for a variance on something when they have the room to move it to the line that they should be on anyway. I'm having a hard time with this. We have a new zoning bylaw. My comment was why we're not saying 1.2. What is the distance on that dotted line to the so-called imaginary property line?
3 meters.
So that's even more than the new zoning bylaw would say between that one and the unit beside it, right? Because the new zoning bylaw is saying 1.2.
Right. It would be 3 meters. It'd be the 4 meters. So it's varied to 4 meters. So that'd be the 4 meters. Sorry. Yeah. That dotted line is the 4 meters.
And then the new one, it's gonna be 1.2, isn't it?
Probably not for exterior lines though.
From the abutting mobile home building or structure 4 meters.
So I think that's for separation between 2 buildings.
Yeah, so when you talk about the line, so they're going from the curb of an internal access 3 meters. Parcel line common with a highway 6. From the edge of an adjacent mobile home space or mobile home strata parcel line 1.2 meters. So that would be the mobile home strata parcel line. That could be as little as 1.2 meters.
Yeah. I'd want to look. I don't think it's a strata though. It's not a strata line. It's a mobile home site line. I'd have to look to be sure what the new bylaw says. One advantage, the new bylaw won't count the number of accessory buildings. It's going to count parcel coverage per mobile home site.
Right.
In this particular case, I've said this before, we would be willing to interpret this perhaps a different way. If the owner came up with a set of park rules and said, hey, you guys each have one deck of a certain size, one shed of a certain size, and maybe a carport of a certain size, but he's failed to provide that rules that he's giving to the people. So we're erring on the side of extreme caution.
Okay, so. And it's not defined actually in our new zoning bylaw either. With that carport, that's not in here either.
It's a percentage floor area in the new bylaw.
Yeah, so you could use the percentage of floor area and depict, because we had a conversation basically saying. Why? Because if you go out and you look at a single wide, it's got two doors. They're about 20 feet apart. So why would you just not they got to build two sets of stairs.
Yeah.
By the time they build two sets of stairs and a landing platform up there, which they don't need a permit for, because that's just their stairs to get in it. Why don't we just say that you can have a 10 by 22 deck at whatever height you want, put some steps up into your door, and a carport that's 12 by 30 and a shed 10 by 10. And then we don't have to deal with this anymore, but they gotta stay inside those lines that Greg Carroll has drawn. Now, personally, only me. I'm going, you could move that building, what they're asking for, and still be in the existing line, which is gonna be a bigger box after the new zoning bylaw gets adopted. Go ahead, sir.
I just had a comment. I did notice when I was at the site yesterday that quite a few of the units have access stairs on both sides of the building. So we were seeing units that had to be skewed closer to the center of the parcel, which wasn't necessarily making the best use of the land outdoor space they had available to accommodate just an extra set of stairs for their secondary access.
Was that on a single wide or a double wide?
I think I've seen it on both, but what I recall in my head were single wides.
Is there every
I was
single
just
one?
gonna
Sorry, go ahead, Deb.
Sorry, I'm just gonna say, I've got a lot that have it on both sides. I think for the purposes of this development with the lots the size they are, Greg should be encouraging people to get those doors on both on the same side.
And I believe the stairs can be within 1.2 meters of the property line.
Yeah, which is what our new zoning bylaw said. That's why I'm saying if they had, because when I was out there a couple, 3 weeks ago, there was 4 new ones that I looked at, and the door single wides was all on the same side. So, and there they had a set of stairs going up to the one door, and a little ways away, they had another set of stairs going to the other door. It would have looked better if they'd have put the deck in there 10 by 20. And either raise the deck a foot and a half or 2 feet, then had a couple steps go, because their door jam at the bottom, I think, is a little over 3 feet off the ground. So
I did notice that somebody had taken 2 sets of stairs off and was building a deck, so.
yeah. And so I'm just saying, for making it look like something and have some uniformity, it'd be better that, because there's gonna be, if Kylo goes with his, they're talking about it, whether they do or not, I don't know, but just for uniformity in the community, basically, if we get this so that it's written, so that it encompasses those things with the percentage of land coverage, right? It would save 3 of them being at this meeting. If they're within a certain size, if they want a 15 by 40 deck, well, then they're gonna have to come in here. But most people, if they say, oh, I can have a 10 by 20 deck, that's what I'm gonna do. Any comment? Any other comments? Like, why did staff not recommend that they move that trailer back to the dotted line?
Yeah, I think we probably received this drawing when we got the permit. And, we encourage people to try and make things fit on the property, but.
So would it be right for us to go make it fit?
You certainly can do that.
I'm just going like there's enough distance from what I'm looking at, the dotted line on the one side and the dotted line on the other side. They moved that structure to that dotted line. There's enough room to fit it. Without a variance.
Unless there's some other reason, like are they on they're not on the line?
I don't know. It could be where the services were put. I have no idea, but that should not be like what they're doing by what I'm looking at should fit within the box that was drawn. They still need a permit because they're doing a deck and they're doing that. So they, under the current zoning bylaw, they still need a deck, but can we recommend it that they consider moving it to the line?
Yeah.
So we can make a, go ahead, Gordon.
But I think he has clients ready to move in, so it would just. I mean, I get, would it delay him? No, I guess.
This one is vacant, so there's
There's nobody there.
no unit on the site.
No, I know, but he's got people wanting to, get it on site and move in. So,
But if they move it there, Gordon, they move it like 14 inches, so it's within the box.
They don't
Don't start saying that, you know what, you come with a plan, you drew it out, this is where it's gonna be. And it's not gonna make any difference how we figure out that zoning bylaw. They're gonna be in here every day for the same garbage, which is not why we're supposed to be here.
I hear you,
It's an empty lot. They have every ability to build within the box that Greg Darrow's drawn. They can build the box bigger now after the new zoning bylaws, unless we somehow were to fast track this alone and adopt it with the changes that we think are gonna make this better. And then just have it brought in with the new zoning bylaw, but we could do that now, could we?
Well, I mean, back in March of 2021, he came forward with a plan, and it was difficult to get him to create these boxes. And then he had to get a variance at that time, then he came back for another variance, and now, I think the idea is he needs to figure out what his box looks like and tell us, and then we can say, okay, we'll build the bylaw around the box you've created, but he keeps changing his box.
Deb?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, kind of on Gord's comment, I do actually agree with Jeff. It's like there's a box and it seems like there's no compelling reason for it not to fit within that box, but maybe there is and they haven't told us. So is it possible for us to basically, I don't know before, because this has to go to council tonight?
So we still have to advertise, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess my point with it is, as far as the Planning and Development Committee, is if we can basically recommend that they fit within the box, but give staff the latitude to override that if there is a compelling reason as far as services or something that makes it impossible for them to go to that dotted line.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Like, if we don't start, and so that they ain't moving in there next week or the week after either.
But I don't really want to have this coming back to us either,
No, I
it's
don't
like-
either. I would like to say that we're going to approve it, and the next one's virtually the same again. So somehow we have to make the staff's life easier.
Yeah.
And this committee not be having this discussion every time we have a committee meeting, the last 4 committee meetings. This has been on the agenda and those slides and what it is. So if Mr. Darash is not going to come at us with something, then we're gonna have to draw something up, and then we're gonna have to stick to our guns and say, hey, you had every opportunity. You didn't do it. So this is what we've come up with. You live with it. And send it to the builders in Salmon Arm and wherever and say, this is what the rules are. You guys figure it out. You figure out where the services are and how they need to attach or whatever it is, but I'm pretty sure the services location doesn't make a hill of beans difference.
I mean, myself, I would recommend, approving all three of them and sitting down with them and saying, hey, why are you not moving that mobile home over just a few feet and fitting it inside the box? But maybe he's planning on putting another door on the other side. I don't know.
Well,
And
Yeah, maybe it's got a door on their side. It seems odd to me that wasn't obvious at the start. Like, I think it needs to be said that people have the right to apply for a variance if they want to. It doesn't have to be approved, but I wonder if there's something else there.
well, even if they have a door on the other side, the setback off the stairs is only 1.2 meters. So
Yeah.
they still have enough room for that stair exit out the other side.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know. There's an obligation from the person that's selling them the unit to be able to look at drawings like this and, and say, and give people advice that, here's your setback is. And I think that the mobile home company manufacturer should draw decks for them as part of the service, but
yeah, I did have conversations with Greg a while, but I haven't talked to him for a while, but I did have conversations with him when Scott showed me that one drawing that he sent. It was a little, maybe, I'm not sure if he got his grandkids to draw it or who,
yeah.
but I did find a draftsman that Brian gave me a name and put the two together, and he thanked me very much. He said he's gonna have to start putting drawings decks from now on. And I still asked him for his part or his rules, but he hadn't come up with anything yet.
but he said he was gonna have that all done and come to this committee meeting. That was meetings ago. So I'd like to suggest that we approve this, but I want to add a line that basically states that they have to explain, particularly on this lot, why they are not fitting it into the box to the staff's
Satisfaction.
satisfaction. So how would you word that last line? Is that what you're writing down? I hope, Scott.
Yeah, I would say maybe the identified buildable area. Like that box is basically supposed to be the buildable area, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like envelope.
So why are they not in the buildable area?
Rationale.
What's the reason, rationale? You read that last line, I'll read the start, you can kick it out, then we'll vote on it. Well, we gotta vote on making an amendment to it first, don't we? So, okay. So that the Planning and Development Committee recommend that the District of Sicamous issue a variance development permit number 22143 DVP to vary the Sicamous zoning bylaw number 101, 1993, section 6034 8 exterior setbacks for accessory residential buildings from 6 to 3.49 for the deck. Can we change that one to what the new zoning bylaw is? So,
Stick with what?
okay. 6 to 3.49 for the deck and from 6 to 3 for the shed. And the section 6034I from 1 to 2 accessory residential buildings for a deck and a shed. With, please read what you're thinking.
Providing a rationale why the development doesn't fit into the identified buildable area.
Okay. Are we fine with that?
Yeah.
Good, Gord?
Mhm.
Okay. Need mover, Gord, Brian, all in favor? Carried, thanks. 5C 22-144 DVP number 1705 Hiller Road East.
This is one where this is the deck, it exists. We took this picture yesterday. It's from Hillier Road, looking into the development. And this deck was built without a permit, so when the building inspector went out for the final inspection, there was a deck instead of a set of stairs. So yeah, this one is a little bit different. And this one is within 1.96, I think, the forward one. Yeah, so from 6 meters to 1.96 meters.
Now that is actually on Hiller Road.
So that's not on Hilly Road, it's on the entrance in, so it's on the first road in,
Oh, okay.
But it's an exterior setback.
right?
Um, what is the dimensions on that deck?
It's in the report. I think it's 3 meters by 6.7 meters.
Yeah, 3 by. So it's what we said, 10 by 20. Is it covered both doors?
There's only one door.
Gotta be another door, probably on the other side.
Side.
Okay, so that the Planning and Development Committee recommend that the district single issue development variance permit number 22144-CDT to vary the Sycamore zoning bylaw number 101/1993, section 60348 setbacks for accessory residential buildings from 6 meters from all property lines to 1.96 from an exterior side property line for a deck. Mover. George, Brian, any comment? Hearing none. That's all the question.
Does nobody else have a problem? They just went ahead and built this and didn't get any permission. And I don't know, I guess I have a bit of an issue with approving, like, or giving variances when they basically ignored the rules and went ahead and built whatever they felt like.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's a bit
That's
much.
a bad precedent.
Yeah, because the next guy is gonna say, wait a second, I didn't,
So what are we suggesting? Tear it out?
So I think the owner makes the application, so the person who's placing the unit sends their application to the owner then sends them to me. And then they go to the building official. I think the person placing the unit just in their mind always had who's gonna have the deck on it, and they submitted their application and kind of assumed that the deck was part of it, but it wasn't. Like, I think it was a little bit of, the scrambled telephone line where, a builder, an agent, and then they're dealing with us. I think it just got screwed up somewhere. I don't think,
so it wasn't much malice in it. It was
Yeah.
just-
yeah.
Or-
This is where park rules come into effect?
Well, this is where the guy selling the lot and the guy building the unit should have a little bit more concern about. But also, if we would just adopt these with the stated stuff in it and send it out to them and say, okay, you guys gotta make it fit. We don't care. You do the math. Come back here.
Yeah.
So, because I can guarantee you that if Kylo does the same thing over there, it'll be the same thing. It'll be a wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be easier for all of us, staff especially, if we carved the rule out and said, okay, you had every opportunity to be involved in this. You chose not to, so we're gonna pick what makes sense to us. So again, I've read the recommendation. Did I get a first and seconder?
Yeah.
So the question is how do we approve this with them getting a slap on the wrist?
Yeah,
Can you answer that stuff?
Well, I mean, if someone's built something on the building permit, we find them through the building permit process where they get double the permit fee. Or we usually don't do that though, like. Most of it, I think if someone, well, in this particular case, some of the units were placed without building permits and we didn't give them the fine for the double permit fee, but. I think when Dale was out there and he was talking to the builder, the guy who built the mobile home, and I think the guy was about to have a heart attack when Dale was talking to him, so. I think we were pretty lenient on him and we've helped him get to this point in the process, so I don't think he needs a slap on the wrist. I think
Is he gonna tell the neighbors?
hopefully not.
Or is he gonna tell the neighbors that you need to do this, this and this?
I hope so.
So you just think it's a mistake. It's not, it hasn't really nothing to do with the homeowner saying, screw them, just put it there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like it, but I'm gonna call the question all in favor. Deb, was that a hand or, yeah,
me holding my nose and putting my hand up.
okay. Then it's carried. Okay. I hope that some of these people are listening. I really hope some of them are listening. So, boy, the light in the background has got to like.
Number 5.
Okay, so where are we at now? That was 18. So we must be at number 5 now, right? D, 5D. Okay. 5D, 22-145-DVP, number 5, 1705 Hiller Road East.
This is one, the applicants, I think they came in here for one day. And they made a presentation. Dale and I have been working with them for quite a while. So this one has the unit in place and they've applied for permits for 3 structures. They'd be all going on like where the truck is parked now. They want a carport, then they want a deck, and the deck might be 10 by 20 or 15 by 10, 12 by 12.
12 by 12.
And then a shed as well. They've actually reduced the size of the shed quite a bit to make it fit on the lot. So again, well, and I'm actually waiting for another drawing. So the other one has the drawings that the owner prepares for us that shows us the setbacks and it's all scaled and everything. This one, we haven't got that drawing yet. Can't really even see where it interacts with that internal road, but we can't see the property line. Where this one is adjacent to the Strata Park next door. But again, it's varying it from 1 accessory building to 3 accessory buildings. And then the variance for that rear setback line, because this one is the outside parcel line of the park, it has to be varied from 6 meters to 1.5 meters. I think if this one was an internal line where you're backing onto somebody in the same park, they wouldn't need this variance, but they do because it's on the outside. So we do have to get our notices out tomorrow, right, Steffi?
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a better idea of what they want to do. I'm hoping to get that drawing that's going to be more accurate, showing what it is. I hope they don't need a variance for the carport from the adjacent line. So that might need to happen as well, but there's a recommendation for the 2 variances we know about, and staff's recommending that it be issued.
It appears that your dotted line and the workshop are almost on the same offset. There's no dimension on it, but it appears they're pretty close. Right?
I think this is a perfect example of what everybody's gonna want. And it's, I myself think it's reasonable. And I would say that setback at the back there, you know, that's the only thing is because it's another property that it's adjacent to but I still, you know, I think that is a good example of what everybody's gonna want and I don't see. I would definitely be in favor of approving this, just because I just don't see the risk.
And I 100% agree, and this is what we talked about earlier, and I would even suggest that rather than dimensioning out a deck as 12 by 12 or 10 by 20 or whatever, that we say you're allowed to have a 200 square foot deck, period. You can make it whatever size you want, you make it 13 by
Right, but
14 by.
as long as the setbacks work, right?
I think the new one will be a percentage of lot coverage or percentage of the unit. We won't be counting number of decks or even the size of the deck. It's gonna be total coverage. So-
Which is a really fair way, right? A percentage of the lot.
So did we do the math on this?
The math,
Anybody do the math on this? Because he's allowed 50% on this, isn't he? Because it's a single wide.
well, that doesn't necessarily apply right now.
I know it doesn't. I'm trying to get to the answer of if you got so many square feet, did anybody do the math on this to see if it actually fits in our new zoning bylaw? Or are we all helter-skelter already?
And I believe we did have the math done and it was, what is the, right now in the zone? Percent.
No,
So I think it's 47%.
Parcel coverage total.
that's a single wide, isn't it?
Yeah, 47.5 parcel coverage total, I think is the.
So they would need a variance for that, 7%.
So in their application, they said they thought they would need it, but it's actually for the total,
The way it's written now, it's for the total park. So, you know, you're looking at the entire park, not just one.
mobile home site.
So right now, they wouldn't need that variance for that extra little percent. So we just left that out.
So it says here, additions to mobile home, the following additions to mobile home are permitted: garages or carports, shade shelters, porches, rooms, or storage sheds. In addition to inclusive carport shall not be larger in area. 50% of the floor area for a single wide and 20% of the floor area for a double wide. So 50% of the floor area is inclusive of porches and blah, blah, blah.
So the home right now is 120 square meters. And it's single wide. And the total of all the buildings on the property are 75 square meters. And the total parcel coverage is 47% total.
Yeah, so I'm only asking because if you read our rules, they're allowed 50% of the floor area, so they're over.
It would be over.
They're okay right now.
That's what I'm saying, though. If we're gonna say that this should be pretty much standard issue, we're gonna have to figure out how to word this before we move too far with it. If we're gonna go, because look, this is the new affordable house. You're not buying a $500,000 and building a $600,000 building. The new affordable is this. So we have to find a way to make this work. That they're allowed to do something, and you know what, they're gonna have to figure it out, but you know. If you're older, you're gonna want a roof over your car so you don't have to shovel the snow off of it. You're gonna want a little deck. That's not an extravagant deck, and all the old guys, you know, usually got a little couple tools. They want to build something, you know, so. if this is gonna be the standard and that number doesn't fit the 50% here, we're gonna have to address this 50%. Because if it's 40% of the coverage of the whole park, one guy doesn't put too much in there, the next guy gets to put a bunch in. That's not right either. You're gonna have to make it on a lot basis. Just saying.
Yeah.
So maybe,
But if it's 50% and they're at 47 right now, it would work for the,
they're not, but they're at 47 of what?
So for the mobile home site, they're at 40%. 47% of the total coverage of the mobile home site. That's what they're at. Right
That's what the lot, that's the lot.
Yeah.
Lot. Yeah, but that's not what our bylaw said,
now. New bylaw.
the new bylaw. So we need to make that be more accurate. If this is what's allowed, then it should be, they're allowed 50% of the lot size. So if you got somebody that makes the lot really small, so the single wide is basically, you need a, gotta have a smart car to park there. And you're not getting any of this stuff. So.
right.
But the wording of this is 50% of the floor area. And that's 75 square meters over 120, so you're over allowing this. But it's 47% of the lot, so the wording of this needs to be corrected. Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I should have been paying better attention. I thought it was of the site coverage, because to me, that's what you're concerned about, is site coverage. If somebody wants to have a smaller home and a bigger deck and you know what, have at her.
Yeah.
And if it's, you know, defined by the size of the home, I think that's kind of just doesn't really make sense to me.
So what is there ever gonna be that all buildings are 50% of the site coverage? We don't care if it's a double wide, single wide, or whatever, it's just plain English.
Sarah and I can look at that. Sarah's taking notes, so.
Okay.
I like that way better.
I'm just told because our new zoning bylaw states one thing, we just did the math and it's not gonna fit. But I do believe that that's the new affordable house.
Sure. And it's, yeah, like you say, it's not unreasonable to have all that stuff.
No.
Not at all.
Okay. So then, did I read for this one? Did I read it? No.
No, you didn't read.
Okay, so a recommendation that the planning development committee recommend that the district of Thick Moose issue a development variance for to vary the district bylaw number 101, 1993. Section 6033B2. This is a different one. Side setbacks from 6 to 1.5 for a shed in section 6034I, from 1 to 3 accessory residential buildings for a carport, shed, and deck. Moved by Gord, seconded by Deb. All in favor? Carried. Yeah, I think that this layout should be basically what we're gonna try and
Yeah.
we'll just make that part of this. That way, we don't have to worry about the great deals.
Good idea.
Okay. Next, 5E 22-136 TUP 1450 Southwest Sycamore Road. Who's got this?
I have this one. This one's pretty straightforward. So temporary use permit was issued a number of years ago for the use of the dog park for community events. The way that permit was written, it's unclear of when it would have ended, but Local Government Act allows you to have it for 3 years and extend it for 3 years, and it's been more than 6 years. So we just thought for this summer, let's just get a quick resolution from the councils for this temporary use permit for community events. There's the Agricultural Land Commission approval. This is the drawing actually from the Agricultural Land Commission approval that allows the events. They have a whole list of conditions in it. So we really don't have to add any conditions. We're not recommending any security because it's the district sick moose. But yeah, if council issues this resolution, then the events throughout the summer and up until September, at the end of September, when the land commission approval ends, we can tidy it up a bit.
All right, so any comments?
Sounds
Good. Recommendation that the Planning Development Committee recommend that the District of Sicamous authorize and issue temporary use permit number 22-136-TUP, the property legally described as Lot 2, Section 1, Township 22, Range 8, west of the 6th Meridian Kamloops Division of Yale Plan 28395, 1450 Salspaugh, Sicamous Road, to permit community events, including stage music and cultural events. Anita Mover, Gord, Brian. Any further comments? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. All right, 5F, Wawanashi Music Festival Camping Temporary Use Permit.
That's mine again, and we actually were holding a spot for the music festival promoter and possibly the property owner. So one of the conditions that ALC permit is you can't use any ALR land for parking or camping. So Monashi Music Festival was hoping to provide some parking and camping on ALR land. They're not able to do that, so they're looking for alternative sites, and I know they have some options all over the place. Jason's been working hard to get this thing going and support them. They actually identified Yarmaloy's property as an area they'd like to camp on and use for parking. We said we could get them in front of this committee, and if they get us some drawings and some information, made an application, we'd help them get in front of councils for a temporary use permit. Apparently they've decided that they don't need one. They don't need a temporary use permit. If you can sit, and so I'm talking about the Yarmaloy property, there's one commercial zone property where campground would be a permitted use, provided they had a business license and a development permit. They don't have either. With the land that they're proposing and they're doing work on, I can't really figure out which parcels they're doing work on or which parcels they want to use, because there's some large holdings parcel where they definitely would need a temporary use permit. But they decided not to show up today. I don't know, Jason, if you've heard if they've communicated with you any further, other than they decided they don't need a temporary use permit and they're not coming to this meeting today.
So I know that straight across the road right here, there's a driveway in the trees there. And it was an old house that kind of fell in on itself after they lifted it up, put a foundation. But there's 12 or 15 service campsites on that piece of property. Now, whether they're permitted, legal or otherwise, I don't know. I thought the idea of the Monashi Music Festival was to try and keep everything on the other side of the highway to stop this crossing. So, Jason, go ahead.
Thank you. I guess I can speak to that. What occurred is when we're talking about the permissions we have, the LC to use that land for this special events. One of the conditions that none of us recognize is that while that land is being used for an event, no other AL or ALC land within the district can be used at the same time for that event. So they'll reject everything that's happening. So that was the condition that was part of it, that we're going to try to get removed when we make an application back in the fall for this to keep. But also one of the conditions was that there are only maximum number of 30 camping spots that are allowed on the site. So basically all of Andy's choices were removed in one fell swoop. And what he's trying to do with this is he's already have 50 sites that are booked through his registration has already occurred and whatever else. He's trying to find a place to move them. He's not offering camping anymore. It's not part of the site. He's not offering it for the event. He's not even trying to offer camping anymore. He's just trying to find a place to relocate the ones that already have bought tickets that include camping. So that doesn't take away from what Scott said about them not feeling that they need a permit over there, but that's the purpose of relocating these campsites.
So regardless if it was gonna be at the dog park, it would have been dry camping anyway,
Correct.
because there's no services there.
Exactly.
And so is Andy having the negotiations or discussion with Shane, or you, who's having the discussions with Shane? Yarmouth.
I met with John Braun, who's
Yeah.
Yarmouth's rep, and we talked about the temporary use permit, and I explained to him what we needed for this meeting. I said, just give me a drawing showing where you want to have the campsites. And that'd be enough for this meeting, and then we can work towards a permit. And I haven't talked to him since, and I've heard,
What was that?
pardon, that was last Friday. And I just heard Monday where they decided they don't need a permit. I think Andy reported back to Jason that yeah, Shane says he doesn't need a permit, so he's not getting one.
So I'll have a conversation with Mr. Yarmouth. He never mentioned anything. What is it, man? Place the other day, bought coffee and bullshit about everything under the sun, including the paradise. So go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I talked to Bruce Sambo about this and then I wasn't sure what was going on, you know, the transfer of the actual music festival from the park, the dog park, to their property. He certainly wasn't quite sure what the details were going to be, but he was aware. I wasn't aware. I was kind of confused because I thought the dog park was already a slam dunk.
But we,
How long are we going to take this from the Agricultural Land Commission when it comes to the bullshit that they're putting us through? That just absolutely is so annoying. It just, but it is what it is. I know what you're up against. But it's just getting to a point, we can't put somebody on there with a goddamn RV on a dog park, for Christ's sake. Oh, man, I
No, it's not.
I'm
not actually the dog park. It was, they were talking about the property across the road. So the rule says you're using one piece of ALR property for an event, you can't have a second for the same event.
Yeah, they're basically, yeah,
I can read the actual clause if you want. It says satellite parking facilities and other amenities associated with the event strictly prohibited on other ALR lands. That's the.
So you need a damn big piece of property so you can accommodate all of it. So that's why so is he talking about moving the whole event to Shane's?
No, he did bring that up initially with Jamie and I when we were meeting, and we convinced him not to do that as much. And so this was the second option, was just to move the campers off the site. Only because he still has people camping on site in terms of the actual artists and the stage crew. So that takes up his 30 spots that he's allowed by the LR.
So is he, so that's the artist for the rest of it. So that's probably inclusive in whatever he's paying them to be there. Okay.
Yes.
So if he was doing outside of that camping, was he charging for it?
He was charging something for it, yes, which is I think why he's trying to find an alternate.
So do we know what he was charging?
I do not. I can look it up and accept you.
Okay, I still think I'll have a conversation with Mr. Harlow. He's got the things over there. And if he already has 12 or 13 camping sites, and they've been there for shit a long time. It ain't something that was put in last weekend. They've been there a long.
but he has no business license, like, he's never communicated to us. Like, I see the sign there that says RV camping this way, but I mean, it's not a permitted use and he has no business license.
Yeah, you know, Can I
Go
say
ahead.
something? I know Terry, was getting mad at the ALR, which is, is from what I've seen is bang head against the wall, because it's, you're not gonna change anything, but I think it's time to get mad at the property owner over here. Like, I think, some of the stuff that's gone on is, just. It just flies in the face of Sycamoose and, nothing, I've said it before, show me one finished, project or anything that's been cleaned up, and it's just, some of the work over there, they're doing a nice job, and that cat skinner did a nice job of smoothing things out, but, like, you need to involve the municipality in things, and it's, I think if if Terry, takes some of that anger and move it over to this landowner as well, and that's how I feel about it, and I just don't, it seems to me that a lot of other people, including our council, don't seem to have any issue with that landowner at all, and it's baffling to me. So that's.
Highlight through the idea is that you might think that we don't have an issue with him. It's just that if you push him, when he pushes back, nothing will happen. And that's the way he's been the whole time.
Yeah.
He's been that way since 1980, the first time I ever met him in Canmore, Alberta. Okay. And he has enough money to back up whatever he did. So it's better to try and work with him and just throw in roadblocks all the time. And he's the single largest landowner over there, and he could control a development that would benefit the district of Sycamoose if he could just come to terms with some of the things that are going on. So my question is that for him to have camping over there, they're all individual lots. What do we have to do as a temporary use permit? Like, he's got the campsites in there, but it's not legal, I guess. So I would just have a quick conversation with them and say, look, come in, pay the whatever it is for temporary use permit, and we'll give you a 3-year thing for camping over there. He's gonna need one for parking too, because he's most likely gonna get the parking off the bridge from highways. Because he's the only piece of land that you could park what the parking they're looking for.
We've asked for business license for everything he's doing over there now. We've asked for development permits for everything he's doing over there now. He's required to provide screening and other things. Some things like those tents require a building permit. His motel requires a building permit. Like, we've had these conversations with him. He ignores us essentially, and I don't know, I could send him a message in some way, but I met with his rep last Friday and he was gonna apply for a permit. Now I learned he's not. He hasn't even told me he's not, so.
Well, how about you and I and him and John have a conversation? Well, it's just how you do the presentation. If you go at him hard, it's gonna be an uphill battle, and he'll dig his heels in. So I don't know. I think that I'm not in favor of them having I thought the idea was they were keeping everything over there on that side. And now they're moving part of it over here. So the idea was not to have that traffic flow back and forth across the highway. But it looks like, same as the car show. It's gonna be on Main Street, it's Ellison Park. So we have a lot of balls that are, but if we we used to host events. If we want to get back into the hosting of events, which attracted a lot of people to the district of Sycamoose, we're gonna have to do a little bending someplace to get there.
And the Monashi Music Festival is a super positive thing. It's great for our town. That's not the problem. It's great. We do whatever we can to help with those kind of events. 100%. I'm totally, so don't misread I just think,
But the guy that's organizing it too is trying to do things outside the box, and finds out it can't happen, and then changes his whole game plan, so.
Yeah.
It's the same as the car show. They were supposed to explain to the businesses that they wanted to close all of Main Street. They got sponsorships from them all, thinking that that was good enough.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give me money, I guess you're in favor of it. But they never mentioned emphatically that they were closing Main Street.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So the shit show started. So I think that the only way that we can really deal with this is by actually participating in it. We can't let the proponent, the venue person be 100% driving the car. Somehow we have to have somebody from the district involved in it. Jason should be involved in every step of it, basically, because other than that, what we asked for doesn't happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking for a temporary use permit. We have to, the district has to sit down with Shane and get this sorted out somehow. And of course, Andy wants to get his music festival off the ground, but he doesn't know if he can put 30 tents over there. Not.
Yeah.
So I think it needs to happen, that we have to sit down with Shane right away. And Andy can't just say, okay, I'm gonna put the tents over there, and then all of a sudden we say you can't. You can't put tents over there on that property because it's not zoned for it or whatever. So we need to sit down with Shane. Same thing we did the last time with the highways letter. We need to sit down with them and say, we want John here and we want Bruce here and Shane, and we need Andy, but for sure Jason sits in it, and he's there the whole separate way, and Scott as well, and get this sorted out quickly. We'll lose a music festival.
What's the box up on the screen?
Councillor McCabe, want me to read it out?
Yeah, I can't read it.
So Councillor McCabe says disagree, Shane has no permit and no business license, do not enable someone who's breaking the law. Planning committee does not make decisions, this absolutely needs to go to council.
We're not making.
We're not making any.
No, we're not making decisions. But I think it needs to, the meeting with Shane has to happen before it comes to council, or Shane's gotta come to a special in-camera council. I don't
Apply for a permit.
apply for a permit.
Just for your information, Andy is coming tonight to make a presentation, so council will have an opportunity to talk to him directly. This is just one of the topics. He's just going to give an update, but this is one of the things he's talking about, but he is doing an update for council tonight. He'll be here in person, so I doubt.
And so then
we'll be with them, but
so then 50% of the conversation is gonna be that he's gonna be camping over there.
Yeah.
Just say,
and for your information, he was charging $80 for a 20 by 40 lot and 160 for a 20 by 60 lot. That's his camping rates. I'm surprised to see they're actually still online, to be honest, because he knows he doesn't have anything to sell right now, but.
Any chance 200 Main?
Jeez.
I'm sorry.
what about your part? What about your house over there? You get 3 in for sure.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, that'll be good. Andy's coming tonight, and council.
I can have 10 at my place.
Yeah.
I don't,
You're in the ALR?
I am, but it doesn't matter. I could have 10 camping spots. There's nothing they can do. Zero.
Please.
Because you don't have to say they're going to the Monashi Fest. Same as Brian, he can have 10. It's allowable. Every ALR piece of property has the right to have 10 camping spots, unsurfaced.
Show me where it says that in writing.
Well, it's right in their rules. I've read through the rules a lot of times. And
Regulations, that's what Scott is alluding to.
it's a stipulation.
You can only have 10 sites if you have a farm business and if you have a, what do they call it? A tourist,
Agri-tourism.
an agritourism business.
Well, there you go. I'm growing vegetables. They're there to buy veg.
So if you have your vegetables and then you have a U-pick educational portion of your farm, then you can have your 10 spots.
I do all that,
Yeah.
so I qualify. What are you laughing at? These guys were just.
No, I'm just, it was actually, Andy actually said that his only chance to get camping spots would be that for individual landowners to apply to the LR to be, and not associated with the.
You don't have to apply to the LR for that. We
But,
applied to the district of Sycamore, so they approve it.
And he'd have to get enough of
The LR.
that. He did identify that as a possibility, but he doesn't know enough people to make it happen. It's still,
Yeah, with the blueberry farm.
I guess they just need businesses.
Like I said, there's lots of property.
Rick Darrow's property. I mean, he has vacant lots that are already people who park. He has actually quite a good setup just with his lots, but then there's a whole field next door.
There's another 30 acres right there, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a great spot.
So why did he not talk to him?
He doesn't know.
He.
Or he does know him. Sorry.
I think Eddie's working with
Good one.
TA structures as well for some support, so.
parking and, yeah. Boys and toys, he's trying everything. In fairness to Andy, he's all over the place. So he's gonna lose his shirt on this too. I mean, they haven't sold any more than 600 tickets so far, so total, and he needs 2,300 a day to make money. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this is pretty rough on him.
Well, so why did he not have the conversation with Greg Darrell?
I think he has.
Do you think he had? He couldn't negotiate?
I don't.
That's a pretty close.
Well, it's on the right side of the road, too.
Yeah.
Stop the truck cross the Trans-Canada Highway. Anyway, I guess that we've alienated one person. I hope he comes back to direct the next meeting. Build your worship.
Yeah. I know. You on under the collar.
Okay, so the conclusion, I guess, Sarah made some notes about this square footage percentage coverage for the 0.3 MHP mobile home park bylaw. And I don't know, would we be able to have that as document for our next committee meeting?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, well, then I guess it's time for the bit of news. So number 6, adjournment. Recommendation that the Planning and Development Committee meeting for June 8th, 2022 be adjourned, the time being 2:23. Mover, Gord, Brian, all in favor? Thanks, Deb. Thanks for joining us. I hope it's snowing in Calgary.
Nice.